not done in the right way. What's going to be your comment on that?
Honorable member, are you using your microphone?
On. It's on.
I think, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Member for Bakau has every right.
Honorable Chair, may I also finish? But for Bakau, are you ready?
Yes.
Honorable Minister, please.
Yes. I think the Honorable Member for Bakau has every right to his opinion, which I respect. But the numbers we here present are from government accounts. And I don't think I have any interest or benefit to come and lie or present a misleading information before the National Assembly. It is unhonorable to do so. And when we talk about budget execution, we are reporting on totals. What you could have had maybe would be like certain allocations not going to certain sectors. That is at a very micro level in budget implementation. I think that's how a budget is done. And the bilateral you talk about predates the budget approval. Bilateral happens before a budget is approved. And discussions at the bilateral cannot determine how a budget is implemented. I think the Accountant General is the government accounts and the financial statements of this 2023 year will be presented, which will give how government expenditures and revenue have performed. And we can even, back of the envelope calculation, know what has happened on the revenue side. We budgeted 20 million budget support from the World Bank. We received 40 million. We didn't budget for the sale of Mega Bank. We realized the sale of Mega Bank. And on the expenditure side, we, in fact, all the expenditure ceilings were exhausted. And that's why you have an outturn of 0.6%, which is how the budget actually went. My team and the systems at the Ministry of Finance has no intention, but I think if a honorable member is saying he has information that this information is fake, we would very much, as a ministry, like to have that information source, and we can do the verification. Thank you.
Honorable member for Banjul South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question goes back to the...
Banjul South?
My question...
Huh?
Thank you. My question is about the domestic debt burden. Mr. Speaker, and...
Honorable members, please allow the honorable member to pose her question. Honorable member for Banjul South.
There's a mic on here.
There is a?
There's a mic which is on here. And they are saying that if any honorable member on the floor, you will not get it. Right. So, and is the journalist mic.
He said, what is he saying? Honorable member for Lower Salem, what are you saying?
What I'm saying here is, the interpreter of the deputy speaker says, if this mic is on, you will not get us. You understand? The mic doesn't belong to this National Assembly chamber. It belongs to these media personnel.
Mr. Speaker, my question goes to the interest on domestic debt burden. It has gone up from 2.1 to 2.3. And the minister here is saying that in conclusion, the implementation has been prudent. So I am asking him, how come he is calling something prudent when domestic debt burden is going up and the standard of living of people are being questioned, because people are really dying of hunger in this country because of the high prices of this country, and most people, the majority of Gambians, cannot afford it. So how can the honorable minister say that they have prudently executed the budget when the majority of Gambians are not feeling it? Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I hasten to say that budget execution is implementing the budget as was approved, staying within the boundaries set. What happens outside that has no bearing with how a budget is implemented. The domestic interest element has gone up. Simply at the time of designing the budget, the interest rates were lower. Meanwhile, during the year, the central bank raised interest rate. That's why the interest rate has increased more than was budgeted. Thank you.
Honorable members, we must remember that we are talking about budget execution. Honorable member for Woodley East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Minister mentioned that during this period, we had budget surplus. And he said that we have budget surplus because of budget support. Can you please help us to understand from which sources do we have this support and exactly how much is that?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. This is very true. When we report to this August Assembly in the half of the year, we reported that no budget support was received due to the prior actions not being fulfilled. But the prior actions were implemented, and when we received the budget support, we issued a press release from the ministry. This press release can be found on the website of the ministry, but off the cuff, I can say we received the following. From the World Bank, the budget was 20 million. We received $60 million from the World Bank, broken down as follows. 40 million immediate disbursement in this current fiscal year, another 20 million as a CAT contingency budget support in the next 3 years. That means in the next 3 years, if there is any catastrophe or disaster, we don't have to go through any process. World Bank will disburse $20 million immediately. Then we had also a budget support from the African Development Bank, which was $7.5 million. We also had budget support from the EU, which was $13 million. And we have budget support from the Agence Française de Développement, which was 2 million euros. These were the budget supports, but the specific details, when we received the budget support, we issued a press release. That press release was posted on the ministry's website, and I think it's still there. But off the cuff, these are the budget support we received. And why it's positive? Because what we budgeted for budget support was lower than what we actually received. And why we received more? Because we went to the World Bank to explain to them the challenges in the rising cost of living and other government expenditures. As a result, the World Bank considered, because certain elements were there which we had to implement. For example, there were certain expenditures to affect the project-affected persons, the groundnut subsidy, the fertilizer subsidies, which were more than what we had expected. So that's where this additional budget support were justified on, and that's why we received more budget support than we expected, and we reported accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. And I invite the honorable nominated member, Honorable Keba Lamfufana.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my question will be directed at the timing of the receipt of the budget support. The Honorable Minister did indicate that the budget support did come late, in fact 2 weeks before the end of the year, and the budget execution was for 12 months. So can the Honorable Minister tell this August Assembly whether the late receipt of the budget support did affect in any way government operations, and if so, how? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and thanks for the Honorable nominated member. Yes, we received the budget support in the last 2 weeks of December, following the fulfillment of the prior actions. And prior to the receipt of the budget support, it was very challenging to implement the budget because expenditures were constrained to ensure that, because if you spend more than you collect, what you do is you borrow more than you expect. And as such, it has a concomitant impact on your interest borrowing and your interest costs. So as a part of the macroeconomic management, we have an overarching target of net domestic borrowing at any one time, which is set. So we had to manage within that ceiling before the budget support came. And this has made significant pressures on the implementation because certain payments like IPCs to certain contractors had to be withheld because no revenue was there to support those expenditures. But as the budget support came in the last week of December, these were paid, and most of this payment flowed through. That's why the surplus you have seen at the end of the year flowed through to the first month of the year in January, when those funds were used to settle most of those IPCs. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now invite the Honorable Member for Kiang West.
Honorable Minister, the headline for this report is End-Year Budget Performance Brief 2023. And what we are much concerned about here today, the deliberate intention of every budget is to improve the lives and livelihood of the citizens of that particular country. However, you have indicated a budget performance of 1.5 billion. How does that reflect the lives and livelihood of the people of the Gambia? The performance of the budget should not be based on just physical cash being in the hands of the government. But how does that physical cash enhance the lives and livelihood of the people of that country? When do you give us that report? Because the budget that we had approved in Parliament here, we have not just approved the budget to go there and we raise fund. When fund is acquired, how does it reflect the life and livelihood? We have seen the escalating price of the foodstuffs in the market. You've talked about the interest rate being high.
Honorable Member, you post your question, please.
Honorable
Minister,
Minister,
make a debate.
can you please tell us how the budget we have approved in this Parliament reflects the lives and livelihood of the people of the Gambia through budget performance report, please?
Yeah, I thank the Honorable Member for Kiang West. I think the answer lies in the budget itself. That's how the allocation is. You have capital expenditure, which goes into capital expenditure of roads. Expenditures of that are not immediate. You have personnel emoluments. People have been paid salaries. And if it were not budgeted, that would not have happened. There is, we also have debt interests. Those are permanent or obligations on behalf of the government, and that had to be made. So this is, like I explained, the budget is an element of the economy, but not the economy. And any fiscal expenditure has what they call a time lag effect. What we are spending in the area of health, education, and infrastructure are not going to be translated into the everyday commodity prices. But these are necessary expenditures that have to be made to sustain and build the capital formation of the state. And the long-term effect will be felt years down the line. That's how a budget is implemented, and that was what was approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I invite the Honorable Member for Sabak Sanjal.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, we believe that the budget, being an element of the economy, as you mentioned, should have a positive and direct results to the people we are living with. You made mention in your report that total value added tax on imports amounted to 3.4 billion, which is 1.1 billion more than its budget. This growth is the outcome of increased efficiency in tax administration from the deployment of a more enhanced custom system, which is the Asikuda wall, and the systematic reduction of fuel subsidy in 2023. That means there is a big reduction in fuel subsidy in the year 2023. what effect will that have in the cost of living? If I should buy a bag of rice today in Sabasanja for $2,230, that means there is an increase in transporting that bag of rice from Banjul to Sabasanja. If there is a reduction in fuel subsidy, that means the prices of fuel will increase. And if the prices of fuel increases, prices on transportation will also increase, and which will have an effect on that bag of rice which I will buy in Sabasanja.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. First of all, Honorable Member for Sabasanja, fuel prices are globally determined. And we have, as a government, continued to subsidize. And it's very easy to compare notes. We live in a region, and Gambia doesn't produce oil. Whatever oil we buy is from the international market. As such, if you look across the border, a liter of petrol costs a lot more than Gambia. So that means Gambians are benefiting from the subsidy. Globally, there is heightened prices in oil prices. As such, when we travel, I just came from Nigeria. I just come from other part of the world. But it's very easy, what we are saying. We can just verify, just put in Google, what is the cost of a liter of petrol in any country of your choice, and compare it with the Gambian price. So, prior years, last 2022, we subsidized fuel prices to the tune of $1.2 billion. But we all know fuel subsidy is not the best utilization of resources, and it's not sustainable. As such, the reduction in that is why we have been able to fund capital expenditure. That's why we have been able to spend the recurrent expenditure. That's why we've been able to spend in essential service like education and health. So the implementation of the budget, as I continue to emphasize, is not the only side aspect of the economy. And when you talk about price of rice, the only determinant of price of rice is not for transportation cost. You have the import cost of rice. You have the foreign exchange. There are so many variables that affected rice. And as we know, even in the global market, the fact that a bag of rice has gone up in the Gambia here doesn't mean that it is lack of government support that has resulted in that. In the region, I think we can still compare. I think a bag of rice in Gambia is cheaper than in the comparables in the region. And more importantly, the source price, the price of rice at source market has gone up. Exchange rate, the dollar we all know has depreciated against the dollar. And when you add all these variables, ultimately, we expect an increase in the price of domestic goods. This is my explanation, Honorable Minister.
Thank you. And I invite the Honorable Member for Upper Fuladu West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank you so much. Honorable Minister, the question that I just want to ask you is pertaining to the budget support. Because in your narration, you have highlighted that we received budget support of 4 billion, that is late December. Now, I just want you to inform this August Assembly why the delays for that budget support received.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. In my half-year presentation of budget execution, I informed this August House that every budget support has what they call prior actions, that actions that must be executed for the budget support to become effective. Those prior actions were not implemented on time. That's why the delay happened. And this delay is jointly. Some of the delays were with the partners, some were with the government, some were with the agencies. And that's why it was received late December when the prior actions were realized.
Thank you very much. And I invite the Honorable Member for Brikama North.
Thank you very much,
and minority
Honorable
leader.
Speaker. Honorable Minister, I'm not sure whether this is in relation to the observation or question raised by the Honorable Member for Woolly East regarding the budget program grants, that is to say, the budget support has exceeded its budget by 48%. Attributable to the good performance is the December disbursement of the budget support amounting to 4.085 million by the following development partners. However, you fail to list down or indicate those development partners. By virtue of the text, it will be relevant if what you have given to the Honorable Member for Wood is the same. It can be so reflective in the text. Thank you.
Yes, I think, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think that was an oversight to have indicated in the list, because as we attempted to reference it, but like I said, we have the information which we can circulate to the August Assembly.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minority Leader. And I invite the Honorable Member for Pony Kansala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, in your conclusion, you have said that the budget implementation during has been reported prudent. I want you to avail this August Assembly in some of the other sectors of ministries and line ministries, where others in the budget execution or disbursement, maybe 38%, 48%, and 50%. As per this budget report, what went wrong? What went wrong onto some of those disbursements, and in failures of some of the key performance as ministry? What went wrong in some of those lower percentages of their budget expenditure or disbursement? Thank you.
Yes, I think, Honorable Speaker, I thank the Honorable Member for one Councillor. But on the lower disbursement to certain ministries, as you know, the overall budget is an envelope, and our report is based on that. But when you disaggregate it, it's not only what is in the budget that is spent during the execution. We had certain expenditures, like I have mentioned, on the fertilizer subsidy, on the granule subsidy, on the payment to the project affected persons that were even larger than was in the budget. As a result of those over expenditures, certain natural directorates or agencies were not able to spend. Because what must have happened, well, what has happened is that in the course of the implementation, there were limited funds until the very last end of the year when these large ticket items were paid. So as such, keeping in conformity with the net domestic borrowing target ceiling, the sectors could not be, because every month the execution of the budget is as follows. We'll look at all the revenues collected for the month and look at the expenditures for that month. And the difference will go onto the borrowing. We ensure that the borrowing cannot go to a level where the net domestic borrowing requirement will be overshoot. So those are the implementation. So for every under allocation to a sector, you'll have elements of the budget where there were over expenditures more than was budgeted. Thank you.
Thank you. I now invite the Honorable Member for Central Badibu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, by looking at the report, I can see to it is more of self-praises. Impressive, positive. But in the actual sense, what do you call as positive outturn when you have, you said it's reaching 21.9 billion compared to a budget of 19.7 billion, representing an overperformance of 11%. Do you call this thing as positive outturn? And if you come to this page 2, consolidated revenue 2, you said the table below analyzed the sources of revenue, their performance against their respective budget estimate. Domestic revenue performance for 2020 fiscal year indicate a very impressive outturn, reaching 17.81 billion compared to a budget of 16.89 billion. What is the difference? Difference of 0.92? If that is the case, explain. I don't know, I'm not an economist, but we need to be schooled. Honorable Speaker, if you come to the last part that I want to intervene to, under the PS.
Honorable, as usual, you know better. You know, you only have one question to ask. We have a lot of members. I am giving you only one question each member.
Honorable Speaker, I thank the honorable member for Central Padibo. But in budget reporting, you have three levels. If you perform less than budget, you say underperformance. If you perform in line with the budget, you say in line with the budget. Anything north of that is positive. And on the revenue side, we have budgeted 16.89 billion, and the outcome was 17.8 billion, which is an outperformance of 5%. In this current environment, for you to collect more revenue than your budget, I think it's a plus. And we do not have, that's how a budget is analyzed, 3 levels. In line, budget to budget. If you budget 10, you spend 10, you say you are in line. You budget 10, you spend 11, you say you are offline. You budget 10, any positive, that's how it's explained. So basically, on the revenue side, basically, let me just keep the discussion on the revenue side. When you budgeted a revenue of 10, and you realize 10, you say, I implemented the budget in line with what was budgeted. When you realize 8, you said, my implementation fell short of what was budgeted by 2. When you have 12, you said, I have outperformed more than what was budgeted by that 2. That's the simple layman description.
Thank you. I now invite the honorable member for Nyamina Dankunku.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My question is already dealt by the minority leader.
Thank you, honorable member for Nyamina Dankunku. I now invite the honorable member for Bushumbala.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, in your report, you did indicate that the capital revenue and performance, the capital revenue also performed more than expected, which is attributed to the sale of a mega bank. How much did you sell this bank? Who are the buyers? And what interest did the government realize out of this sale?
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much. I think in the budget reporting, I report absolute numbers, and I believe the question is asking beyond budget numbers. And this can be a substantive question. We can research and provide answers. Thank you. I'm not a working dictionary to be working with numbers in my head.
Honorable members, what honorable minister would do is to furnish the office of the clerk with the details of the questions. Honorable member for Kantora and majority leader.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, you did mention on the issue of high interest payment as a result of increase in interest rate in the central bank. And I want to ask you a question: what are the factors that are affected the increase of interest rates in the bank, and what are some of the things that we could do to make sure that interests are bring back to a barest minimum, so make sure that at least the indigents or the civilians would have access to funds? Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Member for Contora. You see, interest rates are determined based on the monetary policy, And the number one tool to use to fight inflation is interest rates. When inflation is on the horizon, the first tool to deploy by any central bank is to raise interest rates. And this interest rate is to dampen demand to ensure that the inflation or the velocity of economic transaction will be reduced by the higher cost of borrowing so as to keep the inflation down. Generally, we have what we call cost-push inflation, driven mainly by external factors, and those factors are the higher import prices of essential commodities and most of what we consume in country. The other element that drives inflation in this country is the exchange rate, and as we know, the dollar has strengthened against the dalasi and all other major currencies during the year, so central bank has deployed the hike in interest rates to fight inflation. And this fight is ongoing. I think the interest rate, inflation inched up to a maximum of 18.5%, and it has still came down to 17%, and at the last month, I think it was about 16.5%. So this is a monetary policy action being taken by the central bank. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kantora and Majority Leader. I now invite the Honorable Member for Kiang East.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, my attention is drawn to the last sentence of the last paragraph under Table 3. The document is not numbered, so right below Table 3, the sentence reads, the overall expenditure in personal emoluments can be attributed mainly to Ministry of Basic Education, 470 million, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 320 million, Ministry of Interior, 83 million, and the Ministry of Health, 81 million. And if my calculation is right, this amounts to $531 million. Now my question is, has there been a surge in employment or in the personal emoluments that are paid to employees of the government? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Member and Honorable Speaker. Yes, indeed, these ministries identified here, particularly for education, had increased employment, more staff, and for foreign affairs, it's mainly driven by the exchange rate, because as you know, the government foreign missions are paid in international currencies, and a multiplier is used, so when the dalasi depreciates, the associated dalasi cost of their emoluments goes up. So the other elements like Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Health and Education were mainly increase in the personal emolument from substantive entities where more staff were hired. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kiang East. I now invite the Honorable Member for Sani Mentere.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, you've made mention in your brief how the statutory expenditures such as PEs and interest payments, how it exceeded the annual budget due to unexpected increase both in wage bills and interest payments by 12 to 4%, respectively. I urge you to elaborate on what are those some unexpected increase in wage bills and interest, if possible now, otherwise to the office of the clerk. Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I think I have explained why the interest rate has gone up, the interest cost, which debt burden, interest expense, simply because of the rise in interest rate and also the debt levels. On the personal emoluments, I have just elaborated to say there were more hirings done for those affected ministries mainly than was budgeted, because a budget is just a plan, and when the actual number of headcount was more than what was budgeted, obviously the results will be a higher expenditure than was budgeted, which I have answered. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Sani Mentre. And I invite the Honorable Member for Lower Body.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, you have connected a lot of positivity to this budget. My question to you is, how would you gauge the performance of this budget on the life and livelihood of the people, especially the ordinary Gambians? Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I think I have detailedly elaborated on budget execution versus its impact on lives and livelihood. The budget is, again, I will repeat, not the economy, and it's just an element. It shows government operations. And as we know, the private sector is much bigger than the government operations, and the implementation of the budget is not going to translate in the immediate enhancement of lives and livelihood. But of course, we are not spending money for nothing, because people are being paid to go to work, education has been provided for, healthcare is provided, roads are being built. This is what the budget is used for. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Lower Badibu. And I invite the Honorable Member for Serekunda West.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the Minister told us that the late coming of the budget support was related to either prior actions or prime actions. I didn't get that clearly, but whatever it is, can the Minister tell us what were the causes of that late meeting of those actions, and what are they?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and Honorable Member for Serekunda West. You know, when we say budget support, for every budget support, there are a series of prior actions which were agreed between the government and the partners. And some of these actions are cross-cutting in different sectors. So one might be related to migration, one might be related to social register, one might be related to, I think, public financial management. Another element might be to publish the accounts on time. These are a series of actions that are agreed upon. And no partner will disburse budget support without meeting those conditions. So it so happened in the course of the implementation, some of those actions could not be finished early enough. They were finished later in the year. That's why the budget support only came after agreeing with the partners that, yes, we did implement the prior actions, and the results were tested and accepted. Only then did they disburse. That's why the disbursement came in later than we expected. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Serekunda West. And I invite the Honorable Member for Upper Salu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. And thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for meeting the objectives that we set together as a nation. Now, if you look at the budget, what goes to personal emoluments, debt repayment, interest, everything, we realize that almost 80% or more, it goes towards the current. So we have a very small amount of breathing space. Now, does the government plan to do anything in relation to subsidy for commodities, or perhaps support GGC, which is the National Food Security and Processing Marketing Corporation? Because I remember last year they imported 26,000 metric tons of rice, which actually helped the population a lot in stabilizing the price of rice. Do you plan to do to continue to do such, so that at least in the short term we can have some kind of stability in the prices of commodities in the country? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, Your Excellent, Honorable Speaker. We as a government are keen and we continue to support GGC. One area is when we come to crop financing. All the crop financing transactions are subsidized. And we met in the National Assembly and subsequently with His Excellency the President to look at the package of support we could give GGC for them to participate in the importation of essential commodities. As we speak, we have put GGC in contact with the West African Bank for Development, West African Development, EBID, for them to provide them financing facilities for them to participate in the importation of essential commodities. It is the wish and the desire of the government to really support GGC on the importation of essential commodities. But this support we are working on through lines of credit and working capital financing. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Member for Upper Salum. I now invite the Honorable Member for Old Yundum constituency.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, I withdraw mine. Thank you.
You withdraw? Honorable members, I had exhausted the list, but I am just told that 2 other members will want to pose questions. I now invite the Honorable Member for Fonyi Jarol.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Honorable Minister, in terms of budget performance, definitely it has significantly improved. But if you look at the impact towards even the institutions that are even collecting these taxes, they are even sinking. Neither to talk about the improving the lives of our people. What are the factors responsible for this?
Honorable Speaker, from a vantage point of the Ministry of Finance, our role is to implement the budget as was approved. The concomitant impact on the institutions, we do not measure ourselves. So I don't know what the Honorable Speaker means by the institutions are sinking, but what we go by what was approved. We try to raise the resources as was approved. We try to maintain the expenditures within the ceilings approved at the global level. So that is what our remit is as a Ministry of Finance. But the concomitant impact on how those institutions are doing is a result of monitoring and evaluation, which is not within our purview. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I now invite the Honorable Member for Basse.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Minister, second to last page of your document, program grants, budget support have exceeded its budget by 48%, attributes to the good performance it is in December, disbursement of budget support. Looking at this statement, does it address the underfunding or underbudget of ministries or institutions? Because it is an outcry, always, most of the institutions or ministries will say they are underfunded and they cannot implement some of their activities or their programs, especially even their PEs. So, thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Yes, indeed, the late receipt of the budget support put a lot of constraint on sectors prior to realizing this, because we were not sure when they would land, and we had to keep our expenditure within the ceilings, as such the constraints were there on the sectors. That is why when the funds came in, we could not spend all of them. They had to go through, because all the budget envelopes were exhausted, to the next year. But late receipt definitely implemented the smooth allocation during the year of the various sectors which were constrained because of non-availability of funds. Even some IPCs were delayed because the budget support was not forthcoming on time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Members. Honorable Minister, we thank you for a well-delivered statement, and of course for responding to and answering to questions posed by honorable members. And honorable members, I thank all of you for your questions. Those of you for listening. I will release the Honorable Minister. And Clerk, can we move now to the next order paper?
Bills. Order 65, first reading. The National Social Protection Bill 2023 by His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic.
Honorable members, in accordance with Order 65, only the first reading of the National Social Protection Bill 2023 will be done today. Therefore, I will now invite His Excellency the Vice President, the person in charge of the bill, to hand over a copy of the bill to the Clerk of the National Assembly, who will read aloud the short title, whereupon the bill shall be deemed to have been read a fourth time. Honorable Vice President.
The National Social Protection Bill 2023.
Honorable members, the bill has been read a fourth time. The next stage of the National Social Protection Bill 2023 is appointed for Tuesday, 12 March 2024, for the person in charge of the bill to move a motion for the second reading in accordance with Order 66-2, which reads, at the conclusion of the proceedings on the first reading or on any subsequent stage of a bill, the next stage may be taken either forthwith or upon a day to be named, providing that second reading shall be taken no sooner than 1 working day after the first reading. Honorable member, I thank you. Clerk, may we proceed to the next one?
The Nutrition Bill 2023 by His Excellency the Vice President of the Republic.
Honorable members, in accordance with Order 65, only the first reading of the Nutrition Bill 2023 will be done today. Therefore, I now invite His Excellency the Vice President, the person in charge of the bill, to hand a copy of the bill to the Clerk of the National Assembly, who will read aloud the short title, whereupon the bill shall be deemed to have been read a fourth time. Honorable Vice President.
Nutrition Bill 2023.
Honorable members, the bill has been read a fourth time. The next stage of the Nutrition Bill 2023 is appointed for Tuesday, 12 March 2024, for the person in charge of the bill to move a motion for the second reading in accordance with Order 66-2, which reads, at the conclusion of the proceedings on the first reading or any subsequent stage of a bill, the next stage may be taken either forthwith or upon a day to be named, providing that the second reading shall be taken no sooner than 1 working day after the first reading. Thank you very much. Clerk, may we proceed?
The Gambia Legal Metrology Bill 2023 by the Honorable Minister for Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment.
Honorable members, His Excellency the Vice President would step in for the Honorable Minister for Trade. Honorable members, in accordance with Order 65, only the first reading of the Gambia Legal Metrology Bill 2023 will be done today. Therefore, I now invite the Honorable Vice President, who is stepping in for the Honorable Minister for Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment, to hand over a copy of the bill to the Clerk of the National Assembly, who will read aloud the short title, whereupon the bill shall be deemed to have been read a fourth time. The Vice President.
The Gambia Legal Metrology Bill 2024.
Honorable members, the bill has been read a fourth time. The next stage of the bill of the Gambia Legal Metrology Bill 2023 is appointed for Monday, 18th March 2024, for the person in charge of the bill to move a motion for the second reading in accordance with Order 66-2, which reads, at the conclusion of the proceedings on the first reading, or any subsequent stage of a bill, the next stage may be taken either forthwith or upon a day to be named, provided that the second reading shall be taken no sooner than 1 working day after the first reading. Thank you very much. Clerk, may we proceed?
Cybercrime Bill 2023 by the Honorable Minister for Communication and Digital Economy.
Honorable members, in accordance with Order 65, only the first reading of the Cybercrime Bill 2023 will be done today. Therefore, I now invite the Honorable Minister for Transport, Works and Infrastructure, stepping in for the Honorable Minister for Communication and Digital Economy, who is the person in charge of the bill, to hand over a copy of the bill to the Clerk of the National Assembly, who will read aloud the short title whereupon the bill shall have been deemed to have been read a first time. Clerk.
Cybercrime Bill 2023.
Honorable members, the bill has been read a first time. The next stage of the Cybercrime Bill 2023 is appointed for 18th March 2024 for the person in charge of the bill to move a motion for the second reading in accordance with Order 66-2, which reads, at the conclusion of the proceedings on the first reading or on any subsequent stage of a bill, the next stage may be taken either forthwith or upon a day to be named, providing that the second reading shall be taken no sooner than 1 working day after the first reading. Thank you very much. Clerk, may we proceed?
Women Amendment Bill 2024 by Honorable Almami Kiva, member for Fonyi Council.
Honorable members, honorable members, honorable members, in accordance with Order 65, only the first reading of the Women Amendment Bill 2024 will be done today. Yes? Who is calling? Yes, Obafuladu. Obafuladu. Is it Lower Fuladu rather? Do you have anything? Huh?
Women's Amendment Bill 2024.
Clerk, please. Clerk, wait. Clerk, please. Honorable Member for Upper Salem, Lower Fuladu. Any comments? I'm not hearing you.
For now, no comment, but I'll comment later.
Okay.
About the bill.
Honorable members, honorable members, in Parliament you don't clap, you knock the table, but not that way. Please. Honorable members, in accordance with Order 65, only the first reading of the Women Amendment Bill 2024 will be done today. I now invite the Honorable Member for Fonyi Kansala to hand over a copy of the bill to the Clerk of the National Assembly. Huh? Honorable, you don't beat the system. You wait until I invite you to hand over the bill. Honorable, no questions about this one. I'm saying you wait anytime, you wait until I invite you.
No, he did. You did invite him, and he came.
All right. Honorable member, can you deliver your bill? Can you deliver your bill? Clerk.
Women's Amendment Bill 2024. Yes, sir. Women's Amendment Bill 2024.
Honorable members, the bill has been read a first time. Honorable members, why the unnecessary noise?
Oh, he's provoking me.
Honorable members,
the
bill has been read a first time. The next stage of the bill, Women's Amendment Bill 2024, is appointed for Monday, 18th March 2024, for the person in charge of the bill to move a motion for the second reading in accordance with Order 66-2, which reads, at the conclusion of the proceedings on the first reading, or on any subsequent stage of a bill, the next stage may be taken either forthwith or upon a day to be named, providing that the second reading shall be taken no sooner than 1 working day after the first reading. Thank you very much, honorable members. That brings us to the end of the first readings of the various bills. We now move on. Clerk, can we move, please?
Motion. Bill resolved that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the African Union AU Malabo Convention on Cyber Security and Personal Data Protection 2014 by the Honorable Minister for Communication and Digital Economy.
Members, the Honorable Minister for Transport, Works and Infrastructure will be stepping in for the Honorable Minister for Communications and Digital Economy. Honorable members, please. Order, please. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Motion. Ratification of the African Union AU Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection 2014. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the African Union AU Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection 2014. Honorable Speaker, bearing in mind that the major obstacle to the development of electronic commerce in Africa are linked to security issues, inadequate regulation of legal recognition of data communications and electronic signature, absence of specific legal rules that tackle cybercrime, protect personal data, information systems, electronic transactions, and others, led to the development of a convention by the African Union member states. Honorable Speaker, I think we have to give time to your guests to move out.
Honorable members, please, those in the gallery, yeah, when they are going, let them keep quiet. Please. Please, silence, please. Honorable member, can you continue? Moving out does not mean you make noise. Honorable Minister, please continue.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to move that this August Assembly do consider and ratify the African Union Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection 2014.
Please.
Honorable Speaker, bearing in mind that the major obstacles to the development of electronic commerce in Africa are linked to security issues, inadequate regulation of legal recognition of data communications and electronic signature, absence of specific legal rules that tackle cybercrime, protect personal data, information systems, electronic transactions, among others, led to the development of a convention by the African Union member states. The African Union member states were therefore convinced that the aforementioned observations justify the call for the establishment of an appropriate nominative framework consistent with the African legal, cultural, economic, and social context. The endeavor of the African member states of the African Union at the time was guided by the Constitutive Act of the African Union, adopted in 2000, to come up with a harmonized convention which aims to establish a legal framework for cybercrime, personal data protection, and electronic transactions, embodying the existing commitment of African Union member states at sub-regional, regional, and international levels to build the information society. In 2009, ministers in charge of ICT of the African Union made a declaration, otherwise known as the Oliver Tambo Declaration, for the need for a convention, which was adopted by the Conference of African Ministers in charge of Information and Communication Technologies, held in Johannesburg, South Africa, on 5th November 2009. The declaration requested the United Nations Commission for Africa and the African Union to come up with the convention, otherwise known as the Malabo Convention. In 2010, the AU heads of state adopted this declaration by the decision of the Assembly of the 14th Ordinary Session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union on Information and Communication Technologies in Africa, specific to the theme, Challenges and Prospects for Development, held in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, from 31st of January to 2nd February 2010. In the same year, the AU ministers of ICT reconfirmed the adopted declaration. In 2014, the convention was adopted during the 23rd Assembly of the Heads of State of the African Union. Honorable Speaker, the objective of this convention are, among other things, but not limited to the following. One, to address the need for harmonized legislation in the area of cybersecurity in member states of the African Union, and to establish in each state party a mechanism capable of combating violations of privacy that may be generated by personal data collection, processing, transmission, storage, and use, that by proposing a type of institutional basis, the convention guarantees that whatever form of processing is used shall respect the basic freedoms and rights of individuals, while also taking into account the prerogatives of states, the rights of local communities, and the interests of businesses, and to take on board internationally recognized best practices. Number two, to define the objectives and broad orientations of the information society in Africa, and strengthening the existing legislations on information and communication technologies of member states and the regional economic communities, RECs. Number three, to reaffirm the commitment of member states to fundamental freedoms and human and people's rights contained in the declarations, conventions, and other instruments adopted within the framework of the African Union and the United Nations. Number four, to establish a regulatory framework on cybersecurity and personal data protection, taking into account the requirements of respect of the rights of citizens guaranteed under the fundamental text of domestic law and protected by international human rights conventions and treaties, particularly the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. Number 5, to mobilize all public and private sectors, including the states, local communities, private sector enterprises, civil society organizations, the media, training and research institutions, among others, for the promotion of cybersecurity issues. Number 6, to reiterate the principles of the African Information Society Initiative, AISI, and the Regional Action Plan of the Knowledge Economy. And number 7, to regulate a particularly evolving technological domain, and with a view to meeting the high expectations of many actors with often divergent interests, the Convention set forth the security rules essential for establishing a credible digital space for electronic transactions, personal data protection, and combating cybercrime. Honorable Speaker, due to the borderless nature of cybercrime, cooperation with other states in the region is an important requirement to pursue cyber criminals that reside in other jurisdictions and use them as safe havens. Also, cybersecurity remains ineffective without mutual collaboration and assistance to share best practices and expertise. Without such regional frameworks, Honorable Speaker, like this convention, coordination between member states to share timely information and mitigate attacks will be highly complicated. Additionally, member states will be assisted to transpose and domesticate the convention, to formulate cyber policies and strategies, to establish computer security emergency response teams, and luckily for the Gambia, we already have one, but we may need sectoral CIRTs, especially for banking and telecom sectors. And finally, for capacity building initiatives for law enforcement agencies, prosecutors for cybercrime, and also engineers, policymakers on cybersecurity. Honorable Speaker, bearing in mind the convention requires 15 ratifications for it to come into force. Already, we are proud to say that 15 member countries of the African Union have already ratified, the latest being Mauritania, which deposited its instruments of ratification in May 2023. 19 countries have so far signed, including the Gambia, which signed on 2nd December 2022. In order to solidify our commitment to the regional process we supported in 2014, Honorable Speaker, the Gambia needs to ratify this convention, which we are laying a motion before this August Assembly for ratification. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Honorable members, any seconder to the motion? Honorable Member for Upper Salon.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for bringing this very important ratification in this Parliament here. Honorable Speaker, I think this is one of the conventions that the African Union actually has been pushing in for ratification for a very long time. And the Pan-African Parliament took it upon themselves to ensure that was done.
Honorable Member for Parliamentary, may you say?
No. Honorable Speaker, motion on 53K, a motion agreed by the Speaker to be a matter of urgency.
Pardon?
Motion on 53K, a motion agreed by the Speaker to be on matter of urgency. Honorable Speaker, we just got this document in hand today, so I think it would be fair for members to go home with it and then go through the document, at least to give it a fair consideration. Thank you.
Well, honorable members are willing to debate it. But, I mean, it's not a motion. He has not put a motion. You are just, you know, you first know whether
Honorable Speaker, I was just asking if
Honorable
okay
member,
with members that we can refer it to a later date.
I have to make a determination. That's why your first talk is not you are not moving a motion. You are just notifying me about it. And whether, in my opinion, it is urgent. What I was trying to have some dialogue with you, that it looks like members have started debating. Would that make you change it, or you still want to put the motion? Honorable member, just, there is already a motion on, and the motion is just being seconded. So that motion has to be seconded before another motion can come up. When we reach the stage, you come up. Yes, honorable member for Kantora.
That's the procedure I want her to observe. That I'm telling her to observe the procedure. This is not a bill, it's a motion that we agree to debate. So referring to a committee again, or we're asking her to more time to read again, it will waste time.
Members, I think what we are doing now is, the motion has been moved. And unless now an honorable member for Upper Salem is seconding the motion, can we allow him to continue to second the motion? Honorable member for Upper Salem.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise to second the motion and also to speak on the motion. Honorable Speaker. And no, I can do the same thing. When you call a question, then you can do another motion.
Honorable member for, is it Same? Yes?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. This document is deposited in our picking hall. But when I went there, I could not see this in my picking hall. And I informed the table office about it, and I'm still down here, I don't have the copy. Before we started, I told them.
You have a copy of the African Union Convention on Cybersecurity. Pardon? You don't have a copy, honorable member? But they would not mind to give you their copy. All right, Honorable, can you continue, please?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise for the third time to second the motion and also to speak on the motion. Honorable Speaker, we are dealing with a very important framework that can actually help the Gambia to create some legal laws to guide our cyber laws. Honorable Speaker, the Pan-African Parliament, for quite a long time, they've been trying to get this thing done. But I must commend the minister in 2022 when we were in Addis. When I spoke to the minister with Honorable Jiba and Honorable Sow about the need for Gambia to sign. And the Honorable Minister at the time told me, what do I need to do? Now, immediately he called the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who directed the ambassador, Her Excellency Jainaba Jain, to go ahead and prepare the groundwork for signature. And this thing was signed within 24 hours. And I must thank the ministry, particularly the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the ambassador in Addis, for their, for their support ensuring the Gambia actually has signed. Right now, Honorable Speaker, this thing is already in force, which means they needed only 15 countries to sign and ratify. It's already done. So Gambia actually has signed since 2022 December. So right now we have 19 countries actually have signed, 15 have ratified, and 15 actually have already deposited the legal instruments. So really, this thing is in force right now. So for me, there is no need to refer to anything because it's already in force. So it's only good that we as a parliament understand what it intends to do. And what it intends to do, pretty much, Honorable Speaker, is to ensure that we have a legal framework. One, on cybersecurity, because right now, Honorable Speaker, all of us are living in two worlds. We are living in the physical world, and we are also living in a cyber world. And over 5.3 billion, or 70% of the world, is now connected to the internet. But how do they get protection?
And I think this AU framework is going to help the Gambia to craft something that would guide us in terms of our legal framework, to also to ensure that the population of this country is actually protected, because all of us, for the most part, are doing one or two things online. And I think it's important. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the same convention also, it's trying to also do something very important, that is personal data protection. All of us here will give our information to the immigration. All of us here, we have online accounts, email, Gmail, Yahoo, whatever you name them, we have them. All of us also, we have a lot of things that's going on the WhatsApp. But who is protecting us? Who owns the data that we are sharing? Who owns them? We do not know. And I think this thing is coming to ensure that at least the Gambia understand that there is a need for us to, right now, to ensure that we have something in place to protect the population of this country. And I think this is a step in the right direction. Already, Honorable Speaker, we are aware that a few minutes ago, the cybercrime bill was already late. So which means actually the ministry is in advanced stages to ensure that we domesticate such a convention. So for me, Honorable Speaker, I think this is really essential, but the most important aspect now is for us to deal with the cyber security bill, and maybe in a few months' time we'll have another bill dealing with data protection. So I think this we want to thank the ministry for coming right now to ensure that we ratify this, because this is already in force. So there is nothing that we can do. Whether we ratify or not, it's already enforced by the EU, and the Gambia is part of the African Union. So for me, I think we should put more emphasis on the cybersecurity bill, what we can do more consultations, and then this one is a very simple matter. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Sanimentary. The same motion, hold on. Honorable Member, hold on. The motion you are moving is the motion on the floor. The motion is for honorable members to debate on this. The motion is moved and seconded. It's the same motion. If honorable members feel that they don't have time to debate it, to read it, to do whatever, let them not agree when I put the question. But if I put the question and they agree, it means they are ready to go ahead. And that's what you are saying. So those who think they are not prepared, you go against it. And those who think they are prepared and it is not controversial, etc., would do otherwise. Yes, honorable member.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor again. Honorable Speaker, actually I have nothing against the bill. My only point is, most of the members, especially, I had the document today in hand. So what I'm saying is, if it is possible for members to refer it on a later date so that at least we can look at the document properly and then scrutinize it and do whatever we are supposed to do. But if members agree to debate on it, it's still not a problem because it's only Thursday. That's my opinion.
Honorable, that's exactly what I'm saying. If members like you who feel they are not very much, they have not read much of the, it's not a bill, in fact, it's the convention. It's a convention. If they feel they don't, let them not agree to debate, to continue the debate. If otherwise they think they are well prepared, it's not controversial, let them vote yes. It's the same thing you are putting. That's what I'm saying now. There is no need for a second motion. I will now put the question after the motion has been seconded. You follow me, honorable member? Right. It has been moved and seconded that this honorable assembly do consider the African Union Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection 2014. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, we have a list of those who want to take the floor, beginning with the honorable member for Woodley East.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as the member has said, cybercrime and cyber security should go together. one should not leave the other one behind. And we've come up with a report from the African Parliament. There is a resolution in that which is supporting this very motion, that there is a need for cyber security and cyber crime protection. And we have a role to play in this, to ensure that our people have access to the internet. We really have a role to play as a parliament. So our role is to enact laws. And I believe this particular motion is in order, and it is urgent. And as far as I'm concerned, I've not seen controversy in this, because it's very urgent. Honorable Speaker, our children are very much into the internet without security. And we've said it here, we do not own this platform, like the member has already said. And wherever we put our information, even our government information, we don't know where it is stored. Sometimes it is stored in the United States, sometimes it's stored somewhere else. We don't have the platforms. So this particular convention should be able to help the African countries to have their own, where they can store their own information, where they can protect their own children, their people, personal data. Honorable Speaker, we should ensure that our children familiarize themselves with the internet. We should help them as much as possible from this tender age, so that they'll be able to gain the knowledge that is required, to be able to contribute to innovative ideas, to be able to contribute to the development of their communities, the development of the country, and Africa in general. So really, Honorable Speaker, this particular motion is very crucial, because we need to audit the computer, must be audited, to ensure that we have the necessary protection. Honorable Speaker, also, we have the Telecommunication Act. I'm not sure, but I think we should look into the Telecommunication Act to make some amendments to be able to include aspects of internet into communication, into telecommunication. Because it has been here before, but now we are going further into the issue of crime, cybercrime, and security, and therefore that one too needs to be augmented. Honorable Speaker, I believe that this particular house also should think about, I'm not so very, I know there must be a committee responsible of internet issues, but I believe after ratifying these documents, we need to be able to create an internet governance committee that will really look into the business of the internet. Because really, like I said, Parliament has a role to play in addressing cybercrime. So we must take it very, very seriously. Right now, you have many people complaining about that internet or access to internet is expensive and all this. And we are not taking much attention to that. But I believe with this, we should be able to monitor the situation very well to ensure that things move the way they should. Our people need cheap communication. And therefore, this should be able to help them. Now, the issue here is cybersecurity, but what we need from cybersecurity is the same. It's the same objective, that we have to prevent crime. You cannot have security when you cannot control the crime. That's why the two has to go together. So I will not speak much. As I said, this is not controversial. And I will thank the minister for coming up with this very urgent motion and convention for us to ratify. And thank the Minister of Works for actually deputizing for the minister in his absence while we are conducting this process. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I thank you and urge all members to really expedite this particular process so that we can move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Woole East. I now invite the Honorable Member for Lower Salon.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor, and thank you, Honorable Minister, for stepping in the Minister of Communication Digital FM. I guess this is a long overdue document that should come to Parliament. But in that case, we are supporting 100%. Honorable Speaker, yes, I was just trying to make a site on the signing of this document. But unfortunately, I found it was signed on the 22nd of December, 2022 in Addis. Honorable Speaker, this is what we are always looking for. It's a document that is, will help us, the society, the government, and personal protections itself. Honorable Speaker, if you have seen Article 2 of the document, the scope of application of electronic comments, where they will cease to address the legally authorized gambling, betting, and this lottery that is happening where they are, most of them are legally, doing it. And Honorable Speaker, this document, it will help us, even the government itself. The member for Woole said the accountability, and because all computers should be audited, where Article 6 of the document written in electronic form. If you permit me, among the methods of the implementation of fulfilling this purpose of the invoice of ensuring the function have been met, establishing management control and creating reliable audit trails between the invoice and the supplier of goods and services. I think, honorable members, it's a good move, and where this document ceases to address, it will help the government, the society, and many more in our activities. And Honorable Speaker, we all know what is happening now in the social media. The social media is not audited by ourselves or even the government. You can see, you can get an account where somebody would hack your account, doing things that account that you don't feel to do so. Honorable Speaker, these conventions again insist to address the abuse of this internet to us ministers, diplomats are abused in this internet, but you cannot get correct measures that you can prosecute that person doing it. But in this convention, it seeks to address all these issues whereby people will know what to say in the internet. Hacking to your accounts will be protected. I think, honorable members, it's a long overdue. I submit and with my support. Thank you, honorable.
Thank you very much, honorable member for Lower Salon. I now invite the honorable member for Banjul South.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think my deliberations will be very short because the members have already alluded in what I was going to say. I think we should, yes, focus on the cyber bill that is in front of us to make sure that it relates with this protocol. And like the seconder of the motion had mentioned, there is no need of delay. It is already being executed, and we do not want to fall behind and not benefit from the interest of what this is. Honorable Mr. Speaker, I think we have all been exposed to cybercrime, and we all want to reduce the effect of cybercrime. And I applaud the ministry for making emphasis, because I am a witness to the fact that the police have machinery that would detect internet crime. Because I was a victim of impersonation, and the computer of that person was taken, and they made it known that that message came from that actual thing. And I think we need to applaud them for being prudent and also support them into what we can do to make sure that these things are implemented properly. And I also agree that we need to integrate Internet Governance Committee in the ICT committee as well, to make more emphasis on how we regulate this. And if I may also add, to expedite this process, if our procedures allow, I think we should just go ahead and ratify these things today if possible. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Banjul South. And I invite the Honorable Member for Kantora.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the floor. I think all has been said, and the motion received an overwhelming support, knowing fully fact that this is really affecting us and is long overdue, and knowing fully about the effects or the absence of regulation and instrument in terms of intellectual property rights. We have so many people that really toy, do publication, or they do certain products. By the end of the day, it's not protected. And some can forge it and make gains out of it. And we've seen how democracy, in every democracy, the use of internet and the abuse of internet, is really on the high side. So thus provide the need or justify that it must be controlled, because media or the media age or media has been seen as a fourth estate in any democracy, but there is also a need for us to make sure we regulate that thing. If you look at the motion, it also gives attention to certain practice that is stressing that another level of protection of personal data and the private life constitutes a major challenge to the information society, for government as well as other stakeholders. So these are progressive instruments. I don't think Parliament would really delay much time. But more importantly, there is a bill in the pipeline, which have been read here the first time, for us to look and get best practice from this instrument and also enrich the bill that is coming before us for second reading. So on that note, I want to call on all and sundry to align behind the minister to support this ratification for Rosebery Part and Paslovic. On that note, I thank you so much for your indulgence.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Kantora and Majority Leader. And I invite the Honorable Member for Fonyi Kansala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Thank the Minister representing digital economic. I may not take much on this. I think this was a major milestone that will avail and also give us a bargain into the international scene in terms of joining conventions. As we all know, that cybersecurity is a major challenge, and also including data protection. And this is key into socio-economic development and also in enhancing our information. Being also part of a member where we went to Ethiopia, we also part of the members who went to sign, part of the ministry to work on to sign this agreement. So as the member for Banjul alluded, if we could do something, that will avail us even for us to be able to at least work on the convention today. It will even assist us and make us prudent into whatever we want to do. So on that note, I am very grateful, and I think not only working in ICT sector, but we also join a convention that will also be a guide and also help us in the crusade of technology, and also cyber crimes and bullying, and also including data protection. On that note, I thank all members, and I adore all of us to pass this and make sure we do the needful as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Member for Fonyi Kansala. Let me thank all honorable members, especially those who have participated in the debate. May I now call upon the mover of the motion to respond to the issues raised and the wind of the debate.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Since all the speakers have not raised any major issue about the bill, I want to take this opportunity to thank each and every member of the National Assembly, severally and individually, for the support of this bill. It's very important, as they said, it's also critical to our overall national development, but also security. As you know, even I can see that the National Assembly is also upgrading its communication through digital means or computer-aided means. So it is likely that you have a system here that uses new technologies to get, to the information to the people. That secure information system need to be protected. That's what this bill will do. If your computer systems are compromised in any way, this bill, once it becomes law, should be there to protect and to facilitate any support by the security forces or cyber experts to help you recover your data, but also follow and pursue the people who might have compromised your computer systems. That's one aspect. The cybersecurity bill, that is the cybercrime bill that is coming, will also have an added value to this bill, because right now, if cybercrimes are permitted in this country, there is no law that you can use to prosecute criminals or perpetrators. I think what we do use now is the economic crime bill, but it is not actually enough to deal with cyber crimes. That is why it's very critical. And I think that is why also in most cases, when cyber crime issues are taken to court, you find it difficult to prosecute or win the cases. It is because we don't have a cyber crime law. So the next bill that will come will definitely deal with all those problems and add a great value to the cybersecurity bill. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you so much, honorable members, for your support.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for ably stepping in for the Honorable Minister for Communication and Digital Economy, and for ably addressing concerns raised by honorable members. We thank you dearly. Honorable members, may I now put the question, be resolved that this Honorable Assembly do ratify the African Union Malabo Convention on Cybersecurity and Personal Data Protection 2014. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. Let me thank the Honorable Minister, His Excellency the Vice President, and all Honorable Ministers who are here. And of course, Honorable Members, I thank you all. I now put the question, be resolved that this August Assembly do stand adjourned until Tuesday, 5th March 2024. Those in favor, please say aye. Those not in favor, please say no. The ayes have it. This Assembly now stands adjourned until Tuesday, 5th March 2024 at 10 a.m. prompt. Thank you.